welcome to the next episode of Language Talks. Today we have with us Katherine Cannings joining us from Madrid, Spain. She is an educational media expert and a bilingual family consultant. She has over 20 years of experience as a teacher. She founded an English-speaking children's theatre company in Spain. She presented a national children's TV show. She has authored the book Fluent Families. Let us talk to her and learn about her work. Hi, Katherine.
Hi, Lolita.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Katherine, I would like to start by asking you, what inspired you to specialize in bilingual family dynamics?
Okay, well, it's been quite a long, winding road to get to my specialism, what I'm doing now.
Okay.
I think probably the sort of key point was when I had my children, so nearly 19 years ago. I had no experience of raising multilingual children. So what did I do? I started reading books. I started looking at academic theories of strategies of how to make sure my children were bilingual. But really, it was quite overwhelming because a lot of these books are written by very academic people who are maybe not even parents themselves. So I was reading all this research and I wasn't quite sure how it applied to my family on a day-to-day level. And then I also started looking around at, the community around me who other parents who were raising multilingual children. And I saw that, they weren't necessarily following these set strategies either. So I think that's where the seed was planted to become, to develop the Bilingual Roadmap and, to start writing my book and think about it. Because I wanted really to help families find their own path, because I realized that these strategies it's not one size fits all strategy. Families are very diverse. They have the individual children have different characteristics. Families have different constraints, financial constraints, the location, the resources they may have available to them. They have different goals and motivations. So I wanted to create a method or a pathway for families to follow to find the best way for them to incorporate all the languages in their home. So that's sort of when the seed was planted. And getting there has sort of been a combination of my professional and personal experience.
Oh, that is wonderful. So you made your own path towards this dynamics.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm from a teaching background. So I think really sort of my teaching experience, I've been a teacher for over 20 years, working in multilingual settings with, diverse students from very young children to, teenagers, seeing how, they learn language, the process of language acquisition, the huge benefits there are, the challenges as well. And it's all about creating, an engaging learning environment, lots of play-based activities, for younger children, interactive, fun activities as well for older children. So sort of that has been part of my journey. Obviously, my personal experience, I now have teenagers. So my personal experience with my own children and seeing the different needs, the challenges that we've experienced, that sort of helped me along the way as well. And you mentioned before, I started a theatre company and storytelling company here in Madrid. So my experiences through that as well have given me insight into language learning as well. So
oh yeah, thanks for sharing, Katherine. You mentioned that you have personal experience of bilingualism. So can you share more about it?
My personal experience is really that raising my children. So obviously I'm British, but I live in Spain. My husband is Spanish. So for us, it was maybe relatively simple compared to other families who have more than two languages or have languages which are maybe more difficult to find resources for. I mean, English and Spanish are, you know, the two most spoken languages in the world. So really it is relatively simple. Also, I'm a teacher, so, you know, our experience, I think, probably was smoother, but despite that, we still had challenges. So it made me think about, you know, what about other families that have, you know, more difficult circumstances than me. And so that's why I wanted to create the Bilingual Roadmap, which I just wanted to empower other families to show them that it is possible and look for ways to overcome, you know, lack of resources or financial constraints, and educate families as well about all the benefits there are of multilingualism. Doesn't matter what languages, you know, all languages are equally valuable.
What are some common challenges that these families face?
Common challenges? I mean, every family is so different, but I would say there are quite a few challenges which are common that almost every multilingual family comes across at some point. One of these could be language resistance. So maybe at some point in their childhood, a child starts preferring one language over another, possibly when they start school or when they enter their teens, or, you know, and it's all about identifying why that is happening, and putting strategies into place to solve it. So maybe they're refusing to speak in that language, and maybe it's about finding their interests, you know, finding something, following their interests, and finding activities to do in that language which interests them, to stimulate them to speak it. I mean, it's sometimes some families have problems with consistency and just time. I mean, we have so little time sometimes so maybe you need to you need help planning to fit in that language into your daily routine. More challenges. I can go on. There are lots of challenges. I mean, as I said before, that some languages is maybe not so easy to find stories for your children in that language. You know, that sort of thing. And so I've helped families, you know, almost create their own resources. You can, with technology now, you can do a lot of things like that. There are often external pressures. There may be pressures from one side of the family to speak a certain language. There may be pressures from the community or even from the school that they think, you know, you shouldn't be teaching your child this language. They need to focus on their main academic language. So there are many challenges I've come across. But I would say probably the most common one is at some point, families often say, you know, the children are starting to favor one language over the other. And what do we do? How do we balance it? That's the most common question I've come across.
So how do you tailor your consultation strategies for families, for such families?
Well, I'm all about the whole program that I work through really is about tailoring, you know, each to every individual family. What I don't have is I don't have a prescriptive route. The program is all about interactive exercises, reflective questions that I provide the families with the tools. We work through them together for each family, first of all, to define their motivations and their goals. You know, what I want my child to speak these languages, but to what point? Maybe you just want your child to speak that language. Maybe you don't need them to read it or to study at university in that language. It depends on each family. So we work through that. Obviously, every family as well has a different cultural background. So it's also about respecting that and seeing how much of the multilingualism is their family, maybe it's important that to incorporate their culture, their traditions, their heritage, because that's a huge motivation for most families for their child to speak with their extended family. And basically the whole bilingual roadmap is about, you know, tailoring multilingualism to your family. We look at that goals, motivations. We look at the particular strategies that your family can use. We look at your particular needs and challenges of your family, the language setting you're in, your community, which languages are more dominant in your home, you know, in your family, extended family, in your community, in your educational settings. So we map out a language landscape. So everything is very, very personalized. We look at your specific challenges and also the way that you want to celebrate your language learning goals. So yes, it's not a prescriptive route that first you do this and this. No, I listen to every family and work through through everything with them.
Okay. You said a very beautiful thing just now. You know, they have to celebrate the language learning. I think it's a beautiful process, right?
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, there are so many. I mean, maybe sometimes we just look at the end goal that you have for your little child, and you think, oh, I want them to be perfectly bilingual. You know, just looking at that. But along the way, there are so many little things that you know you can celebrate. Maybe when they, you know, they start singing a song in a different language, or they understand a joke, or you know, there are lots of things to celebrate about language learning that I think are incredible.
Yes, and you mentioned songs and stories and jokes. I think that's a beautiful thing, and you must also be enjoying teaching all this, right?
I do. It's very rewarding working with families. What I love, you know, I love meeting families from all around the world. I learned so many, you know, different perspectives, and it's been just eye-opening to see, to me, you know, the different ways that people incorporate languages in their home, and also, you know, I want to say, you know, bilingualism is not just one thing. It means something different to everybody. And yeah, it's very rewarding helping families, if they do have a challenge, get over you know, their problems and helping them create their sort of harmonious home.
So just like children face this problem of language when they go into a new family, so parents also must be facing the same thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not just about the children learning the language. It's also about you know, your family dynamics change. Obviously, you know, if you're from, often the families I work with, you know, say the mother speaks one language, the father speaks another. So you're bringing two cultures often into the home, and it's a question of delicately balancing those, but also you're always learning from the other one, and also we learn from our children. So you're creating something new. I would say, you know, families are all different, always. There's so many different layers of parenting, and adding a different language is adding another layer of parenting. It's complicated. Some of the other decisions we have to make, I mean, as a parent, you know, when your children are little, you have to make a lot of decisions about their diet, about their sleep, their education. And then another layer of that is, oh, you know, they're speaking different languages. How am I going to incorporate this in all the decisions? But yeah, it changes the family, and parents have to adapt, and also you continue learning as well. So it's great.
Okay. So in which languages do you deal in, Katherine? How many languages do you know, and how do you go about it?
Right. Well, in my home, it's English and Spanish on a daily basis. I've also studied French and German, and because you know, Spanish is a similar language to Italian, Portuguese, I have understanding of that. Although I have to say, you know, I'm coming from a very Western perspective, so Western white European perspective. So I'm limited to, you know, the European languages, but I love languages, and I always want to, you know, I want to continue learning. There's just not enough time.
You are right. My God, so you're a polyglot, I must say.
Well, and you as well, Lalita. What your languages are?
Oh, no, not so many as you, but I have learned, my mother tongue is Marathi, then I know Hindi, English, and German.
Well, there you go. that sounds pretty good.
It's fun to work around languages.
It really is, yeah. I think, and it's a gift as well. And every time you learn another language, you do see things from a different perspective. because you have access to another point of view. So
absolutely. Having talked about bilingual family consultation, I was reading your blog and you have written about how pets can encourage bilingualism in a family. So I found it really interesting. So please tell us about it.
Okay, well, it's more of a sort of a light-hearted way, but I wrote a blog about my bilingual dog. Obviously, he's not really bilingual, but he understands commands because our home is bilingual. We will tell him, to go for a walk in different languages or whatever. But I thought about it and I thought, it is a way of bringing different languages into your home and incorporating, and also teaching languages to little children, because they love their pets, obviously, and they also maybe you can use them as the children can teach the dog languages. They see that a dog is learning. It's all about creating another way of incorporating languages in your home. Children like talking about their pets. You could ask them, in the language that you want to increase in your home. You can ask them, what did the dog do today? Make the dog, only speak the minority language, maybe, to encourage the child to speak that language more. So yes, so my dog's not really bilingual. He understands very little, I think, but a few words. So I think it's funny, because when I say to people, my dog's bilingual, they're astounded, like, oh, how have you got a bilingual dog? And I say, well,
Yeah, I know children must be getting impressed. That's great.
I think it encourages them to, like, if a dog can learn 2 languages, well, I can too.
Why not me? Yeah. Can you share a few success stories with us?
Okay, I think a success story. One family that I worked with that were really struggling. It was a family where the mother had there were 2 very young children in the family. The mother was speaking her language, which the father didn't speak, and they were living in the father's country. And the father and his extended family really didn't see why that the mother spoke in that language. So that it was Filipino, basically. It was the mother was Filipina. They lived in the UK, and the father and the family, they why are you speaking to them in Filipino? They don't really need it. The father didn't understand. I think he felt a little bit excluded, and so I worked with this family, and we went through all the benefits of bilingualism, which there are so many. There are cognitive benefits, there are academic benefits, all the the cultural benefits. There are so many. So it was about sort of working through the tools that I work with families to begin with, when we talk about all the benefits and what bilingualism means and what it means to them, and how it can benefit their children and their family as a whole. So we worked through that part of it, and we put in strategies of where and when they were going to use the language, and that they really did. It was very rewarding, because they did come together, and they both got on the same page. They realized that that this is what we want to do. They agreed on how they were going to do it, and at what level they wanted to do it. So I think that was really rewarding, because I remember when I started working on them, I was thinking, oh no, I don't know, how do we go about this? But we did it, and they're very happy, and it's very rewarding to see that the family is working, the children are making progress in the language, and that all the languages in their home are respected. So maybe that's a success story. And just seeing other families I've worked with who maybe didn't even know how to start. They want their children to be bilingual, but they just, like, every day, oh well, we'll just speak to them in each language, and it wasn't enough. So helping them, getting a consistent routine, helping them plan out activities for their children that are language rich, and them seeing, oh, okay, I can do this myself. It's not so difficult, and helping them do that.
Oh, wow.
It's not necessarily so basically there are the sort of steps that I take them through gradually, and part of it is once we've I don't say, this is the correct strategy for your family. I give them all the options. We talk about it together. We look at the strengths and, the pros and cons of each thing for their particular family, and encourage them to decide on something that works. Then I help them plan and find the resources. This is when they're working with me on a one-to-one basis. So I will either find resources for them, or I will point them to where they can find those resources, and I will help them make the plan depending on the age of their children, on the interests of their children. We will plan out, say, the first 3 months of how that they can increase the language that they want to increase in their home. So that's from my teaching background. I can help them create 4 activities a week to increase language on different topics or different themes that are relevant to their culture and to their children's interest.
Yeah, so these are the steps, right?
Yes. And also, we go through, I help them, give them tools so that they can, as we talked about, celebrate those achievements and keep the motivation going, because I'm not always going to be there for them to call and say, oh, this has happened, what can I do, or just to make sure that they're celebrating and staying motivated and not giving up.
Yeah, right. Okay, great. Katherine, are there any misconceptions about this bilingual family dynamics, that it is easy or it is difficult, or something like that?
Yeah, I think there are quite a lot of common misconceptions. Firstly, about sort of bilingual children, that people say, oh, children are sponges, they will just pick up everything. First of all, it depends on the child, and it depends on how much input. It can be easy. You can be really lucky that you are able to have, consistent input, and your child just has no problem and picks up everything. I think that's a misconception. Another misconception I've often had is that, they're going to struggle academically, they get confused with different languages. I think that is a myth as well, because research shows, there's cognitive benefits. There's absolutely no, language delay on multilingual children. Another myth sort of for bilingual families is that, you need to be a native speaker of that language to raise your child bilingually. I don't think that is true at all. And I've seen many families really successfully bring up children in a language which is not their native language. And another myth is it's just, as we've talked about a little bit, it's just the child getting the benefit. No, I think the benefit is for the whole family. When you're bringing up a bilingual child, there are so many positive aspects that the whole family gets. Not just the parents, but the grandparents, the extended family. Everyone benefits from learning about different cultural aspects. As well.
Yeah, I think the whole ecosystem benefits, including pets, as you have written. Right. Katherine, what do you find most rewarding about this work?
Well, most of all, we've talked about it a little bit. Really just empowering families, I think, to see that, they don't have to follow these set strategies, that they can learn about them, but they can pick and choose almost. They can find their way forward, and just seeing that, the family unity strengthening, they're developing confidence, improving communication, their cultural connection. There is so much that's rewarding for me with this is seeing families benefit from having worked with me, for sure.
Great. It must be an enriching experience for you, right?
It really is, yes.
Please tell us about your book, Fluent Families. I love the title. Even the title is nice.
Thank you. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. It's about language in the end. It's about communication. It's not about speaking perfectly. It's not about having an accent or not. It's just, families communicating together. So really, Fluent Families is just the bilingual roadmap method that I have developed. It is interactive exercises, questions, quizzes, tools. It's almost like a workbook. So you have all the information there about bilingualism. You have it's research based because I've worked with Michelle Golding, Dr. Michelle Golding, who is a professor of bilingualism in Torrey University in the United States, and also with Estela Barrey, who is a speech and language pathologist. So they have helped me, because I'm the first to say that, I'm not an academic. I don't have a PhD in linguistics. Primarily I'm an educator and I'm a mother. And so the book is written from that practical perspective. So they have helped me, they've fact checked it and, helped me find all the relevant research for the information. But primarily it's a book which there are stories from real life families I've interviewed in there. And it's just guiding you through the different steps to find your motivations, your goals, the correct strategy for your family, helping you find the right resources. There is a chapter as well, common challenges, like we talked about, and what you can do in those cases. There's also a chapter as well about motivation and celebrations. So it's that is the book really. It's the bilingual roadmap, which the coaching program that I work with families on a one-to-one basis, encapsulated in a guide. And it's not published yet, but it will be very soon.
Oh, okay. Great. So I wish you all the best for that.
Thank you so much, Lalita.
Having talked about bilingual families, your consultation, and your book also, I want to talk about the theater company in Spain that you have started.
Yes.
So can you tell us more about it?
Yes, well, that was really is still going. I started it 17 years ago. So it's a storytelling theatre company, and we also do escape rooms for the older children. It started off just as me, but it's grown, and now I have a team running it. So I'm not really so involved on a day-to-day basis. It's given me space now to work on this, my passion project, Bilingual Roadmap. But yeah, we go into schools all around Spain and provide immersive experience. So it's all about English language learning, but in a very fun, engaging, interactive environments, and in as small groups as possible. So all the children are participating. And so really that's sort of connected, I think, with my love of languages and bilingualism, and just seeing children learn in that fun, immersive way. That is the key value.
That is interesting. So storytelling is so important, right?
It is. Storytelling, music, the arts, they're things that are very close to my heart.
Yeah, right. Katherine, this was a lovely discussion, and it was good to know about your consultation. Thank you so much for joining, and I wish you all the best for all your ventures.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Lalita. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
It's just a pleasure to connect with you, Lalita. I hope you found it interesting. I hope your viewers find value in it, and if anyone wants to connect with me or find out more about what I can offer, I'm really happy to chat to anyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me in conversation with Katherine. See you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Bye-bye.